Whenever I hear or see based on the hit video game for movies and cinematic storytelling for games, I unfortunately just roll my eyes. Using a game as a basis for a film is a very limiting prospect, as, they're not playable like games are. The other way around, considering the way that games are constructed and all the different types of players that exist, precisely pacing and editing a story down to perfection like you can in film is practically impossible here. But with that being said, I think Resonance of Fate is a game that has found a rather elegant and unique way of translating cinematic language into gameplay, particularly that of action films. To give a brief rundown of the game's battle system, you control the characters Vacheron, Zephyr, and Liane as they take turns moving and fighting around in a square-shaped zone that enemies occupy. Every turn has to be fought out, just as in any traditionally turn-based RPG. Should I heal now? Unload now? Set debuffs now, use an item? Pretty textbook stuff that we all know. The real interesting mechanics, however, come up when you consider that 1, this is all happening in a 3-dimensional space, and that 2, your arsenal is mostly made up of firearms. Of course, you can't just snipe your foes to death, as the further that you stand from them, the longer shots take to load. Finding a proper middle ground where you can make the most amount of damage to the most amount of enemies, while spending the least amount of energy is key, which is where hero actions come in. Once your running path is selected, you will run along a line while time around you slows. From there, you can jump very high and attack from above, launch enemies in the air, and generally just lay down lots of power. Risk and reward is attached to this, of course. Bezels, which are gained by eliminations, get used up by hero actions and damage taken, so if not playing carefully, can run out and leave you severely crippled. So let's look at the Matrix and this fight scene in particular. In this sequence, the heroes move in and out of neutral, vulnerable, and advantageous states. Based on the last scene, the security officers are understood to be pretty normal fighters, not necessarily pushovers per se. I mean, Trinity and Neo still need to take cover and whatnot, but average enough for them to take on a whole squad by themselves. This effectively represents the advantageous state, where the skill gap is so unmatched that looking cool just comes naturally. Enter an agent. Dangerous programs of the Matrix, they can take control of nearly anyone from anywhere, dodge bullets. I mean, their reputation among the Nebuchadnezzar crew is one of pure dread.
Little piece of advice. You see an agent, you do what we do. Run. You run your ass off.
Their presence immediately sets the state to neutral. The protags are a close match to their skill, but the slightest slip-up can be fatal. Here, Neo surprisingly manages to dodge bullets himself, but 2 graze him just enough to get knocked down, leaving him wide open. Thankfully, teamwork comes and saves the day.
Only human.
Dodge this.
As cool as the effects, shots, and angles are, the stakes are present all the same, making sequences varied and engaging. These elements are all, I think, very present in Resonance of Fate's battles. The trio have great advantage over low-level mobs, making cool fights once again come pretty naturally and come pretty quickly. Sets of multiple average-leveled enemies and bosses, however, immediately set a neutral state with more thoughtful positioning required to win. Of course, falling into a vulnerable state is possible in all of them, whether it's from resources running dry, poor positioning, or what have you. The enemy can make quick work of you when you're not expecting it. Coming out of danger often comes out of teamwork and placements that allow a character to save another. You have control of a tense scene where you have to make the quick calls. Just like Neo and Trinity, it's all then elegantly brought together by a score that personifies each state based on what's happening.
Do anything, okay? It'll be easier for all of us that way.
Someday, you'll see.
Straight time. I'm gonna don't
And yes, I am aware that I am grasping at straws just to compare these two completely different titles. But even so, Resonance of Fate to me serves as a great example of how games can incorporate influences from film into the interactive, which is what games are all about. If you've got a PS3, PS4, PC, or 360, it's definitely worth checking out.